ஹலோ, யாரு? தன்ராஜா? நான் தான் ராமசாமி பேசுறேன்.
Hello, welcome to Vanga Pesla. Today my guest is my daughter Shreenidhi. Hi Shreenidhi.
Hi Chitapa.
So today we are going to talk about the hit Netflix series The Witcher, season 1 and season 2. So have you seen both the seasons?
Yeah, I have. I actually binged both of them recently. Because I unfortunately got COVID, and then this was the thing that I watched while I was isolating.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the first one. So one of my friends told me it's a very confusing show. That's the first thing he told me. Oh yeah, Witcher, yeah, it's so confusing. Then I just dropped it off. That's it. I just let it off, and then as it was coming now, the season 2 was coming. There are so many promos, so many videos. Oh, Witcher is coming, Witcher is coming. Okay, fine, let's watch it. But actually, it's not that confusing. If you know what's happening, I don't think it's like that confusing. So did you understand the season 1 timeline, all the events and everything, or no? The first time you watched it?
So I actually ended up watching Witcher just out of coincidence. So obviously I had nothing to do, and I was asking for some friends for some recommendations. I was saying I kind of want something like Game of Thrones-esque because I really enjoyed Game of Thrones. So they suggested this. I had no clue how big it was. I had no clue that there was games involved or stories involved. I had no clue how big it was. Basically, I had no clue about it. So I went into it knowing nothing.
Oh, wow.
And for the first couple of episodes, I didn't understand the timeline. Because I just didn't understand. I knew nothing about the world. For me, they could have been all in the same time period, which we obviously understand later on that they're from different time periods, and we're seeing snapshots of them. But there were like small things that I was picking up on. I was like, that's a bit weird. So I think the first one was that the king that has the
incest thing.
The one that has that Jin as the daughter. So there was a scene, and I think this is when I realized that there was something weird going on with the timelines, where we've obviously seen the king in his olden days trying to protect his Jin daughter. And then they flash back to Yennefer being chosen and being sent off to the various courts, basically. And there's 2 little kids that is the sort of the twins in that scene. And I was like, isn't that the same? Like, they have the same names. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, the moment they told about different timelines, what I do is I watched an episode. I go and read a recap. There is a website here called, so many people write recaps. There is one website called Vulture here, which is very, they do a lot of recap, every shows. So the moment the guy said, hey, I think it's happening in the different timelines. And then he sent me a link to a picture of the entire timeline. I'll show you, which is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, share your screen. I love stuff like this because I'm pretty much the same. But what I do is not after every episode. I do it at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, interesting.
This is the timeline he had for the first season, right? So he's saying, look at this. Here is episode 3 at the beginning. Episode 1 is here. Episode 1 is here. It's good all over. The episode 1 is all over the place. In episode 1 itself, we have 3 different timelines. They're showing stories in like 3 different timelines. They have the first thing where the Gerald kills the butcher of Blavikian, and Sintra War, and then the Calanthe loses the battle. And there's so many things. Once you get this picture, oh, okay, so now it makes sense. Okay, now it kind of makes sense. So it basically starts like 12:10 and goes all the way up to here, and then at the end they all meet together. It all like collides. At the last episode, they all collide. So this picture is kind of very, very, very interesting. But I don't think if you, unless you are paying real close attention to the dialogues, I don't think you will get this any way. Right?
It's true.
Pretty good.
So it was episode 3 that I figured it out, I think, when Gerald fights the Striga, whatever it's called. It wasn't the Jinn.
Yeah, that's nice. So basically we have like 3 major characters, right? On The Witcher, there are 3 major characters. Obviously the Witcher, who is the Gerald, and then we have the Yennefer, and then we have Ciri, right? So it's all their journeys throughout the first season, which is pretty interesting, right? I really liked how they showed at the end, we find out that the Gerald was like in the prison when the war was happening. That was a nice twist, right?
Yeah.
That was a very nice twist. I really liked that.
It's almost like they just miss each other all the time, and you're
Yeah.
hoping that they'll see each other, but they don't.
Yeah, but like that is where the impact comes, right? When they meet at the very end at the first season, and I mean, like it's almost like a Tamil movie, watching a Tamil movie.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That was pretty interesting. So, what do you think about all the three characters?
So, well, I mean, I think each of them has their own interest, but for me, my favorite kind of character is Yennefer, because I like the sort of transition that she goes on in season 1, which is really interesting. But then I feel like in season 2, and I know we'll probably get to this later, I kind of lose interest in her a little bit because her character becomes a bit weaker in, not in this sort of like strength.
Yeah, she has like nothing to do, basically. That's what I feel.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like she just becomes like, they've made her a main character, and therefore they've just kind of got to continue her story. But I think in season 1, she was really sort of that transformation from her being sort of like really like
Ugly,
just like hating herself.
Hunchback,
Exactly.
exactly. That was awesome, right? That was really awesome, right? The way she looked at the hunchback, and that was very. I mean, that was pretty cool to watch, though. Pretty cool to watch.
I don't really understand why all of the sort of, what are they, sorcerers need to go through that transformation. Does every single one of them go through it, or is
I don't think it's not everybody, right? It's like some of the mages, like they are turned into eels to power that astro or whatever that is.
That was weird.
And then like she, that was weird, but like she doesn't like the fact that she's like that's what he said. Her looks are being like makes her like held back. You know, like she wants to become powerful. She wants to become this, and then like she wants to become that the mage to that kingdom, right? They are like putting her to like to the Nilfgaard, and she says, "No, I don't want to go there. I want to go to here because that's the most powerful door." So that's why like she transforms, which makes her attractive. Which then the king looks at her. So that's a whole thing, though. So, but in the process, like she's losing their ability to have a child, right?
Yeah.
Which is what like after like so many years we see with this episode 4 where like remember the spider thing, it comes and attacks the small baby, like she which is pretty cool though, right? Like she transforms like portals to different places. The guy keeps on following her.
You know what? There's so many like parallels between this and other movies and TV programs. Really? And the more I see movies like this, or sort of things in this genre, you start to realize that all the same concepts are being used in these sort of mystical worlds. Like, for example, the portal that you talked about. Obviously, Doctor Strange does a lot of that portaling.
It's just what I was watching. I was watching this Spider-Man. Hey, man, I've seen this.
You know? Exactly. So same concepts being used. There's a lot of similarly with what is it with what's her name, Siri, and she reminded me so much of Sansa Stark from Game of Thrones, when she was on the run from the capital, from the sort of crown. So lots of the same themes coming up in all of these movies.
This portal thing was awesome. I just finished The Witcher, the entire 2 season. I go to watch Spider-Man, and there's another portal. Hey, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly. Like, did you see the scene in Spider-Man? I know this is not about Spider-Man, but when he basically portals two portals, and Spider-Man just goes back and back.
See, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many things here. Like you said, there's so many similar concepts, similar ideologies, a lot of things. But they go through this whole thing. Like, she wants to have a kid. That's where, like, she's chasing after that. What is that? The bard, the guy who sings, which is a very funny character. He's very
I love
good.
him.
That guy is very good.
Yeah.
So like he has those three wishes. She wants the wish, but then like Gerald tricks her. They fall in love. Blah blah blah. All those things, which is like pretty cool to see when the two meet. It's like a very very good scene actually.
Their chemistry is pretty good in the
really
seasons.
Awesome. They're really awesome. Yeah, and this the episode said about this golden dragon was also pretty fun to watch. The old guy comes with those two people, and then they go to search for the egg. It turns out he is the dragon, which is pretty nice. Which is pretty good.
Yeah, that was interesting. Although I felt like that episode, apart from the fact that obviously that episode was bringing them together and like nurturing the storyline about their relationship, apart from that, everything else in that episode was a bit random.
Yeah. I mean, I think like they kind of structured in a way that every episode has like a goal to achieve. They have to do that, and then it moves forward. Because if we really see this season 1, Siri did not have like much to do. They had some small scenes, but it didn't really. Her ultimate goal was to meet Gerald in the end, but not. She went to she goes to a forest, right? She meets Dara. The guy, she goes to a forest, and then the other guy, she kind of like clothes himself into this mosaic, and then he comes there. He then puts it back. It's all pretty cool to watch. Pretty nice. So at the end of season 1, what we learn is that Gerald was at the Sintra war. He was in the prison, right? He sees the queen die, and then he just goes in search of her, right? And then finally, like the whole thing about unleashing the chaos, that was pretty awesome to watch. It just burns the entire troops out, right?
This storyline, is it the numbers on this? So does that mean, so I'm just looking at this, so in episode 4, they're in
episode 4, the end's queen is assassinated, and then Siri's mother promises her child. This is the one, the Gerald, the child surprise. Remember where the
fine. So Siri's about 14 when all of this is happening.
Yes. So basically, like this is all like flashback now, right? It's all about it's happening where Gerald goes to the kingdom. She goes to the party. The queen, what is the guy, the Duny guy? He comes.
Yeah.
He comes. That was pretty nice to watch. It's kind of again the same thing, like the Beauty and the Beast, right? Exactly. He gives her a kiss and then he becomes okay.
To be fair, in the original stories of Beauty and the Beast, not the Disney version, they have a similar concept of this child surprise not the child surprise, but the law of surprises or whatever. Because I think in the original story, I mean, I think this, I feel like I've heard it somewhere. The father of Beauty basically stumbles upon the Beast, and the Beast says, okay, basically when you go back home as a sort of payment for you sort of doing whatever you did here, you've got to give me the first thing that greets you. And the father agrees, thinking that it'll be the dog. First thing that greets him is the daughter, so that's why the daughter goes to Beast. That's one of the versions of the story. So similar concept again.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean the same, but I don't understand this whole thing about what is the law of surprise? What are they saying? They're saying it is a surprise gift which he doesn't have now, but will have in the future, which goes to him.
Yeah, it's not even that he doesn't have now. It's something that he doesn't know he has now, but finds out, the first thing that he finds out that he does have that he didn't know he had now.
Yeah, the future's pretty cool though. He just says something, give me a horse and I'll be fine. I don't care. And he has a baby.
I feel like he didn't really anticipate that, did he?
That was pretty cool though. That was pretty cool. So yeah, but the whole thing, and then we find out how did Gerald become a witcher, right? His mom just drops him off at a school, and then the whole he has this whole dream sequence at the season, the last episode, right? All those dreams and everything, and then he just finds out how he became a witcher. That was really cool to watch too. Yeah, the whole thing was nice.
One of the things that came up in season 2 that obviously started from here is that relationship between him and Tessa.
Yeah, but they only saw them once, right? They only saw them once. I just saw that on the season 1, episode 1, I believe. That's where they saw. But then when they meet in season 2, it's supposed to be like long lost lovers.
Yeah, exactly. Which I didn't really get, because I was like, well, in season 1, I went back to look at some of those videos when obviously in season 2 they were kind of like alluding that Tessa had more feelings. I think it's Tess maybe. Had more feelings for him, but then you go back, I think it was episode 3 where Gerald fights that Striga. I think it was the Striga, when it's in the king that had an incestual relationship with his with his sister. there's not really much there to go on that suggests that there was something romantic happening or could
Oh,
have
no,
happened.
maybe there wasn't any romantic. What I understood was, I'm going to stop sharing. I think we're done with season 1 now. So what I understood was like, since like she was like completely burnt, right? She was feeling pretty low, and then she was hoping for a companionship or whatever, and he was right there. That's what I thought. Anyway.
Yeah, fair. Do you have a timeline for season 2 to cover that you can pull up?
I had that, but because like, there is no timeline for season 2, right?
True.
I don't think that
We
there's
just
any
need an
multiple
episode
timeline.
list.
Yeah, we don't think there's any like a multiple timeline to season 2 though, right?
Yeah.
So basically, at the end of season 1, Gerald and Siri like they meet, and then the first thing she asks is, "Who's Jennifer?" You know, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And then
How
we
does
find
she know that though? How does
because
she know
like she has a
Jennifer?
dream, right? She has a dream. Siri has a
Oh
dream.
yes.
Where like she says like she's destined to meet Gerald, she's destined to meet Jennifer, and they all are together. That's the whole thing, right? So ultimately, like what people are saying is, Siri is a child that Jennifer wants, you know, because like this, she cannot have. So like it's going to be like father, mother, daughter. That's all they are thinking in the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know how like that's going to look. But anyway, so they all like Siri and Gerald meet, and then like we find out that the Jennifer has burnt the whole milk god troops and then just disappears, right? But we don't know
that
what
was
happens.
a really cool scene though.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to watch. That was really cool scene. And then she disappears, and that's it. So in the beginning of season 2, we find that Gerald and Cyrilla, they travel to that their main headquarters of the Witcher. Before that, they go to a palace, and then to meet one of his friend, who's in a boar-shaped guy.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool too. That scary lady from the roof. She comes from the roof. That was pretty scary.
Yeah, that was pretty scary. That reminded me of some of the horror movies that come with that kind of concept, right? That when she was screaming, and that was kind of that was pretty scary.
Yeah, man, so, and then we also find out that Jennifer and the other what's other name? Other mage, the one who Francilla.
Yeah.
Francilla, yeah. They both are prisoners of the elves, and then they go to, which was kind of confusing to me. I don't understand the whole the lady in the hut thing, you know.
Yeah, see, I found that confusing as well. I had to Google that while we were watching that episode, but I think basically the way I understand it now is that mage feeds off the pain and suffering and bad feelings of other people, but the witches had trapped her when she'd first risen or whatever it was in that house, and she needs, because she's not from this universe.
Yeah,
exactly. So she needs something to kind of like, she needs a body to be part of, and that was the house initially. But then this whole scheme that she had with Yennefer, Francilla, and the elf mage as well was all about getting enough pain and suffering so that she can be sort of escape from the sort of entrapment that the witches had put her in.
Yeah, which was pretty, I don't know, I don't understand the hurt thing once, but as the season progressed, I kind of made sense. Okay, she's the bad person, but in the end it made sense because like she's transported to the same place where she came from.
Yeah,
right? I know she's gone there. I don't know what's going to happen now, but anyway, now they finally put her back there. But yeah, this whole season 2 about how series slowly being trained as a witcher. So maybe that is why like Jennifer's storyline like took a backseat. You know, they wanted to promote Ciri more, or they want to show like more of her.
Yeah, I also feel like even though we feel like Yennefer's story took a bit of a backseat, it did still have sort of meaning in the grander scheme of things. Because obviously, I think Yennefer, the whole story, her whole character is about feeling a lack of purpose or meaning. And initially in season 1, it's all about sort of becoming a mother and finding meaning in that. And season 2 is her realizing actually her power was all of her meaning. But then at the end of the season, she realized actually it was none of those things. So I think it kind of was setting all of that up. I think for me, it was just, I really enjoyed her character in season 1, and actually we didn't really get to see any like interesting things about her in season 2.
Other thing was the season 2, like she has like lost her powers, right? Once she like, comes back from the hut, she just completely become powerless, and then she's trying to survive. She even makes a very, very bad alliance with that Kahir guy, and then she escapes him, and then they travel, they meet Bard, and this whole thing, and then like she finds in a dream that Siri is telling her, "Take me to that gate, and then get your power back." But then she finds out Siri is the child of surprise for like
exactly. I was kind of like, I think that's the thing, right? This whole season is about her desperation to get her power back and how far she'd be willing to go. And when in the first time that Yennefer, the Witcher, and Ciri come together in that safe haven place that they went to, that was so nice, like their characters, and you're kind of like wishing that she's not going to hand Ciri to the bad mage, but then obviously it does happen. Even though she does have a change of heart, but still probably a bit too late.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, like Ciri like finds out immediately that she has some ulterior motives, but by the time Gerald comes in, she tried to save her. And I didn't understand this whole thing about this monolith, and then the what is that thing? That rock that other city crashes in the very first episode. Remember, huge. I didn't understand all those parts though. I don't know what the deal was that about. But we'll
to be fair, I'm also slightly unsure about that. So they're talking about the convergence, right? So it's some sort of like Big Bang event that happened back in the day. What with the monoliths, what they're initially theorizing, that sort of mage archaeologist guy that was kind of having a thing with Yennefer. I think what he had hypothesized was that the monoliths are sort of impact areas where the collision had happened. But I think towards the end of the season, they disproved that. And actually, rather than it being collision areas, what they're saying is it is the sort of intersection of the different universes. And basically, Ciri's powers are so strong that she's able to like invoke people from other universes and attract them to her. That's why all of the...
Is that it? Or whenever like a monolith breaks, a new thing comes up, like a new like a new monster comes up.
I think it's more that the monoliths are the kind of like gateway to other universes, and the creatures in the other universes are attracted to Ciri. I may be wrong. That was the way that I understood it, but then it doesn't explain why the creatures are made out of monolithic matter, basically.
Maybe that's what I mean. Because the last one, remember, like Ciri, the lady in the hut comes into Ciri, and then she starts killing people, and then she screams, the tree breaks, and then like, there's a monolith inside that, and from there, from which the other monsters come, which is that's a kind of crazy to watch.
I was kind of sad that so many of the witches died, because I think in that season with Ciri being there, I think they
had the bond and everything. Yeah, that was
exactly sad. And they all have like, they're almost like brotherly towards her, like bantering with her, but also kind of
like
like pushing her.
Yeah, they're shocked to see that person.
Exactly. And again, a lot of what Ciri does reminds me of Sansa Stark from Game of Thrones, when, like, you know, Sansa's like trying to control her army and become sort of the queen of the the North, and all of that, and she's like proving herself and like continuing to go. The really good scene is when she's doing that Witcher like obstacle course and she just keeps going. I was waiting for the Witcher to come back and like completely sort of like
that was pretty cool to watch too. I mean, it shows that even though she's a young girl, she's very powerful, she's very strong, mentally very strong. And I thought like when like the Gerald comes and sees that scene, he just get mad at Ciri or mad at the other guys, but he's just watching. He just wants, hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
He's got good parenting instincts, very good, I would say.
Good. He's really good. The Henry Cavill is very good in this role. Very amazing.
He is. I completely, again, like I said, I went into this completely blind and like not knowing anything. I did not realize that he was he's Batman, right? No, he's not Batman. Who is he?
He's a Superman.
He's Superman.
Oh my god, Shreenidhi, come on.
Getting my DC and Marvel mixed up. No. I didn't realize at all until Lovin mentioned it. And I was like, oh yeah, like he looks much better in The Witcher than he did in that movie.
No, he is the Superman, and he was in the Like in the Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise, he was the bad guy
Yeah.
in that. He's pretty good. He's very good though. Maybe like say like this role, he has a physique for it. He has the high voice too. That even the bard makes fun of him, right?
Yeah.
He makes fun of him about his voice.
Exactly. But apparently he's also a huge like Witcher fan. So I was watching some like interviews with the actors.
Oh, okay.
And apparently he's a huge Witcher fan, and he's like really into all of these like sci-fi, if this is what it is, not sci-fi. I don't know what the category would be called, but into all of this, and he plays like Dungeons and Dragons and all of that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool
stuff.
though. See, to me, the biggest thing was I mean, I could really see this guy as a Witcher, even though I've known him from Superman. I had no problem. But same thing with the other characters too. The Yennefer and the City Girl. I've never seen him in any other show before. I have no idea who they were. So now they're just to me like Yennefer and see. They can do like a million movies after this. They'll always be same thing with the girl from like the Game of Thrones, Khaleesi.
Yeah,
she has done a lot of, but she'll always be Khaleesi. That's it.
Yeah,
Sansa Stark. She's always been Sansa Stark. So
yeah,
which is pretty good though. Which is pretty cool for me. Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you know the rough storyline of The Witcher before you saw the? No, you didn't either.
Now all I knew was it had like multiple times because one of my friends, he told me I was about to watch Witcher and said, "Don't watch, man. It's so confusing. There's too many timelines to track up." And then I just dropped it. That's all I knew about it. I know it's got like multiple timelines. I don't know which timeline, but I know it's multiple timelines. But I had zero idea.
Fine.
Yeah, there are like a lot of memes going around, a lot of jokes about Witcher and everything, but I never really bothered. But I only watched it because the season 2 came now, and there were a lot of promos, lots and lots of promos. Say it's coming, this coming, that coming, recap, all those. Okay, let's watch. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. The moment I finished the first episode, I mean, I was just hooked in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, now at least I know what's happening. Then
exactly. And I think that's the thing. It does a very good job of like making every episode count. Because I get for me, a good TV program needs to hook you in that first episode. I know we spoke about this. So it does a very good job, and then it keeps you wanting to watch the next one because there is so much content in every episode. You just want to know what's happening next. Although I must say, I think in season 1 it was more so the case because you're literally grappling with all the different timelines and the different characters.
But still, it was like kind of interesting, right? It was like really interesting. Watch the season 1, the very first episode was interesting because like you want to know what is the power that Siri has, because she screams and then the glasses shake. Interesting. Okay, something is going on there. What is that? Something is there. That was kind of interesting. Yeah.
In that episode with the his friend, the one that's like a boar, the boar actually tells her kind of like story effectively, right? That he's telling her about the elf that the elf mage that fell in love with a man, which is what her ancestry is. When they said that story, I was like, there's definitely some sort of foreshadowing here. I don't know what it is, but I know that the story is going to come back later, which you obviously do see later in the seasons.
Yeah, but again, that's so now what they're saying is at the end, the whole thing about the white flame, this guy, that guy, he turns out to be like Siri's father, right? So I don't understand. So why is he doing all this stuff just to get to a daughter? I understand.
I'm not sure. There must be some sort of ulterior motive there. I wonder. What I was thinking is, I wonder whether he like even fell in love with her mother because there was some ulterior motive there, because obviously her mother also had the same power, power that she does, and it obviously missed.
I don't think it missed
Calanthe.
Calanthe.
Yeah, and so they're all coming from that line of heritage, and obviously the theory is that Calanthe was trying to protect that knowledge, and that's why she hated elves, because of that. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting in the next season, because like obviously now so many people are after Ciri. So obviously the like mages are, because that's like their political game.
Political because of the blood and everything. Yeah, that was pretty amazing too. Like the Francilla and these mages, like they form an alliance. They start to train them, and then Kahir comes and says it's not going to work and all those things. Yeah. And it's amazing like when the baby gets killed, she goes to the town and then she kills every baby.
Definitely. That's very Moses-like, isn't it? I think it is Moses.
Yeah.
You know, that happens in that story. But I thought the stuff that was happening with the elf, I was less sort of, I didn't understand it as much. They're obviously the initial sort of like inhabitants of this continent or whatever it is, and get pushed out by the humans. But what I didn't understand was in season 1, I thought the guy, the blonde elf, I really should know their names, I don't, was the lead, like the lead of the elves. But then in season 2, it becomes his wife, the elf maid.
Yeah.
So I don't know when that changed.
He was the leader, right? But like, he couldn't do the job. That's what she's saying, right? You couldn't do it. That's why I just took over from you. I'm just going to do it better. That's what there is some dialogue over there where she says that, I know it, like in your time, it didn't happen. It could happen like in my time or something she said.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think like she's more ruthless than him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, he's like kind of a good guy, you know, because like he's not willing to take care of Jennifer and Francilla when they're in handcuffs and everything. But she's like really ruthless, right? She's just like, kills all the babies. She doesn't care, you know. She just
exactly. No, that's interesting. And just so now they're also after Ciri. So the elves are after Ciri, the mages are after Ciri.
And the Guardian, obviously they want Ciri from the beginning, right? So
exactly. The White Flame is still after them.
She wants Ciri, and Gerald and Jennifer, they want to protect Ciri now from all this.
Yeah, exactly. I think season 3 will be interesting. Oh, the guys, the Wild Hunt. I don't really understand them.
No, that is in a different universe, right? Yeah, that's in a different universe. It's not going to happen. But that's what I'm wondering. How many power does Ciri have right now? Apparently, she has everything, right? She's part elf. She can do this. She can do that.
Yeah,
she's going to be a witcher.
I was going to say it's a shame she didn't become a witcher. She should have ticked every box.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Pretty good. I mean, like I said, I got really invested in the character because I had no idea about who they were before. I could really see them as a character. Even Henry Cavill, even I've seen as Superman, I had zero problems like
imagining. He's done a very good job because again, you should watch. I'll send you the link to this interview, but he does a really good interview where he's talking about like how, and this is where you realize he actually is very invested in doing this character justice. He was like, I'm like always campaigning to make sure that we don't stray too far from sort of the original.
Which is what Game of Thrones did. Which is what, because like the Game of Thrones really like caught up with the books, and they had to like their own storyline at the end, which is people didn't like. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. Like I also watched some interviews with Jennifer and Ciri on the. Apparently, they're like very good friends. They get along very well. They had amazing chemistry on all the interviews. When I used to watch them, they make fun of each other, and it's very nice to watch.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. The girl Anya Chalotra, she's really good. Freya, and she's very good. It's pretty. I mean, so many of them like all like new faces, right? Except for Henry Cavill, I can't even see Henry Cavill. The Vesemir guy, I know him from another show which I watched, which is pretty cool to watch. That's a great show. Apart from that, that's it.
His character is a good character as well, because I think in season 1, the sort of whole idea of like taking young boys and making them into Witcher, you kind of feel like there may be some sort of negative feelings towards him, but then when you see him in action, you realize there's a real
very
sort
good.
Of like,
he loves Ciri, he loves Gerald, right? He's trying to protect her, he listens to him. Very nice though. Even that when like what's the mage's name? Tess. Whenever like she comes in, she's very like loving towards him, right? She makes fun of him. That's pretty cool to watch.
It's just a really nice community, actually. That's the whole Witcher community.
Yeah, even though, I mean, it's all like any other brotherhood or sisterhood, whatever that is. Like, you have to go through the initiation period first. You have to go through all the trials and tribulations first, and then you become like a part of the team. Even at the end, they're all saying, "Ciri, just come back to us, come back to us." You know.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was a nice relationship that they've shown.
Which was pretty cool, right? In the last episode, like the lady in the hut, she's kind of mesmerizing Ciri to think that she's at a wedding, right? But she's doing everything, and she has control of her body, but her mind is at the wedding. She sees, okay, you know what? Just take care of your parents. So here's your grandmother. Look at them. Just forget about this for a while.
Yeah,
I'll just take care of your
exactly.
body.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't that again that scene took me a little while to understand what was happening there, because obviously they were cutting back and forth. It was a little bit confusing. I'm so sad when she killed some of the witches. I was like,
Yeah.
no.
Uh,
Spoilers.
Apparently, the fun part was the grandfather, right? The grandfather
Yeah.
is not in the dream, and he's like head is turned back, right? Because apparently that guy did not have the dates to be on the shoot. So they had to put a dupe, seriously, put a dupe guy,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
that went amazing. I thought it's going like a big reveal in the dream,
Yeah,
because that's
yeah.
why he's always like turned back to the camera. I thought, man, but nothing
To
happened.
be fair, I didn't notice that. So that was good of you to notice that they hadn't showed his face.
Because it's like a big character, right? And like in the very first
Mm,
episode, the grandfather has like a very good relationship with the granddaughter. He tells her,
that was nice as
yeah,
well.
pretty cool. The stick of stone to some game they're playing.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah,
play the
yeah.
way I'm telling you to play, all those things. But then
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I was looking at some videos about, they were saying how in that dream that she was in the when she'd like been taken back to that scene, and her body was being taken, all of the people who had died crumbled away, but her father did not crumble away, which was supposed to be foreshadowing for the fact that he was
Oh,
actually the
really?
white
Okay,
white
okay.
flame.
Mm.
So if I was reading that somewhere, so I was like, oh, interesting. I
Oh,
didn't notice
really?
that
I
either.
thought maybe they just like cut off from the scene because yes, it was just
That's
a
what
bit
I would
under.
have thought. Maybe people are thinking about it too much.
But I mean, I don't, now I'm really curious to know like what is that guy's agenda now, right? So what
Mm,
happened to a mom? Apparently, like, they got killed in some sea in the storm at a sea or something, right? The ship got wrecked and then they all got killed. So why is he alive now? Where is her mother now? What is his thing?
mm.
I really wanted to
I reckon
go
his
back to
mother
the.
is definitely dead. I reckon the mother is definitely dead.
Maybe we'll see what happens. So then, did he kill her, or what happened there?
I think so.
Oh,
That's my
really?
theory. My theory is that he faked the shipwreck, killed
Hmm.
the mother.
No, no, but
Um,
the shipwreck also, like Francilla tells her, right? That storm was created by me. The ship, everything. I mean, I'm the one like who created the storm that killed these people. That's what she says. But
can you go back to your timeline in season 1? Because I wonder whether this is a plan that had been hashed many, many years ago. Because Francilla obviously goes to the Nilfgaardian kingdom way before Ciri's even born, way
yeah,
before Dooney even comes into the picture.
I don't see anything there because you have a N is sold, and his body is transformed. He's fighting here, abducted by elves, and Queen assassinated. Gerald fights. Blah blah blah.
See episode 4 in
Yeah,
where there
yeah.
is where we first see Dooney, right? And
Yes,
he is
yes.
pretending to be, well, he is a knight.
Hedgehog, knight and hedgehog and whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But if you go back to episode 3, where they say Yen's body is transformed, that is the point where all of these mages get sent to the different kingdom. So they had almost 40 years to concoct a plan potentially that Francilla is maybe in on and doesn't really
Maybe,
understand the full plan. But she's the
maybe,
mage for that kingdom, isn't she?
maybe it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, which is, I mean, it's what I'm saying. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And like
Mm,
for some reason, there is no much what do you say, like articles about the book itself
mm,
online. Because like Game of Thrones, if you go to Wikipedia, you can see the books. They'll tell us everything that happens. But for some reason, this
mm,
Witcher, they only have the titles.
yeah.
There is no like synopsis or plots or anything. I don't know why.
Would you read the book to the banner that
No
you've
way,
seen season
no
1?
way.
No.
I don't read books. I don't read books.
Fair enough.
I don't
Fair
read
nnought.
books. I don't think I have the patience for it to even read.
Yeah. I feel like I don't read books often, mainly because when I get into a book like this, I will want to binge read everything and therefore will not have a social life. So it's a bit of a risky strategy.
Hmm.
Whereas binging a season that is maybe 3 or 4 hours tops,
So you
or
need a
5
social
hours.
life right now, Shreenidhi? I thought you're married now. Why do you need
More
social
of a
life?
reason to have a social life.
Oh man.
No, you always still need a social life. Although Corona is making it hard to have a social life.
Yeah, I know it's kind of tough right now. But I mean, like, I think we are okay here. We are kind of, even though it's almost everybody, I know all of so many of Sanjana's friends are getting COVID left, right, and center. It's kind of, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like when the season 3 is going to come now. Maybe another 2 years, probably. I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. It was so. I think season 2 came out later than usual because of Corona.
Really.
So hopefully, I mean, Netflix are usually good at releasing things in a year and a half's time. So hopefully that will be okay, because Bridgerton released this time last year and they're now bringing season 2 out in March next year.
Bridgerton, like, there's not much CG work to be done, right? Here, a lot of CG work.
Fair.
It's a
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
thing, right? Huge. And Bridgerton, it just
No,
one
you
set.
say that. There is they do a lot of work for all of the, like, you know, all of the
Yeah, you are right.
the
Maybe,
graphics on the ton and stuff. I mean, it's definitely not the same level.
Yeah.
But they do some.
Yeah. But Bridgerton is coming, right? I had to watch. I heard it about the second brother now, or the first brother.
Yeah. So the Bridgerton books, which again I've not read, are apparently, each book is focused on how each of the children find love. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
The grandmother from Bridgerton is playing a part in Witcher. Did you see that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the African American lady who's in the Bridgerton.
Yeah.
She's the person in that the yoga center. It's kind of looks like a yoga center. Yoga center. It kind of looks like that.
That is a very good.
It kind of looks
analogy.
like that, though.
Yeah, no, that's a good analogy. Yeah, no, I noticed that. Yeah. I feel like with Netflix, the same actors and actresses play in all of the movies and the TV programs. Like, if you see a lot of the, like,
which makes sense, right? Because like, their name is in the database, right? They know about them. Maybe their entire payroll information is already in the system. Why do you want to go? They just call them. Same thing. We look at all the network shows, right? If you see, like, there are so many characters. They come in different shows. The same people, because they are the same family, right? They just
I reckon it's also because, like, the producers and directors are all very similar, exactly. So they pick people that they've worked with before and have had a good experience with.
Yeah.
But we're now going off topic, but in the Bridgerton season 2, we've got some Indian representation, which is nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see that's another point I don't like is I don't want the people to force them on us just to cover bases. They should have like a real part to they should have like a real part to play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's true, but I think that the two characters in Bridgerton actually do have a main role, because one's obviously the, like, leading female lady, right?
Really?
So it'll be interesting. But even if it is, like, representation, I still have a lot of respect for those individuals, to think they've come from sort of a background like mine and have made it into sort of showbiz and stuff like that. It's still interesting. I'm sure they've had to go through a lot to get there.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's so much competition, though.
Exactly.
It's good. So anyway, so we'll see. I don't know when the season 3 is going to come. So we'll see what happens with that. So what other shows then are you watching right now?
To be honest, I just finished Young Sheldon, which was another one that I binged while I was
It's a good show. It's a good show.
It's nice. It's nice. I think, I don't know, I think it kind of got a bit of a bad rap, because I didn't watch it initially because I think Akbar had said it wasn't that great. So I just stopped. I didn't watch it.
No, it's okay. I mean, if you know about the whole Big Bang Theory thing, then it's kind of nice to watch. But in a way, the Big Bang Theory, Sheldon kind of got annoying in the end as season progressed. He got really annoying. Yeah. I really could not imagine in any scenario where, like, somebody would be a roommate with him. Right?
Yeah.
The first 4 seasons are kind of funny. Oh, look at Surgeon. But then I'm so Surgeon Sheldon. I was going to kill me.
Pretend that didn't happen. You can edit that bit out.
Yeah, it happened. So now what's happening? Now it became really annoying, right? Season 8, 9, and 10, it became absolutely annoying. And so, but now with the skit, it's kind of cute. The girl is pretty good, though. The one who plays the sister, she's really very good. She has some amazing lines. She's very smart.
Yeah, 100%.
They show very well.
The thing I like about Young Sheldon is, obviously when you've seen Big Bang Theory, it kind of brings it back and you kind of understand some of the things. But, like, as a show on its own, I really liked the way that they'd, like, created the sort of relationships with the different people. And kind of, like just the different relationships he's had, like the one that he has with his mom, the one with the Mima, with the dad, like they're all different, and they really explore those relationships really nicely in all of the different episodes, while at the same time obviously being relatively funny. So yeah, I just really like that, like how close he is with his
It's a good show.
Mima.
It's a very good show. I'm going
How-
to, yeah, I watched a lot of shows. I'm going to be watching a show called Yellowstone. That's supposed to be a very famous show in the US. I'm going to start watching that. I watched a couple of Hindi shows, just pretty good.
I just started watching Emily in Paris. I'm not that.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that.
I've seen an episode or two and I'm kind of underwhelmed by it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to finish that.
There is a very famous show right now called Station 11. It's a famous show and apparently supposed to be very good. I watched the episodes. I'm not interested, so I just stopped it. So
yeah. See,
amazing
this is what
reviews, but yeah.
happens. I feel like some people, like shows these days are just kind of like hyped for no reason. And then you watch it and you're like, okay.
Do you watch this one as Succession?
No.
You should watch that. That's a very good show. It's an amazing show to watch. Which is what like me and Varshni spoke about a couple of episodes ago, which is pretty good. An amazing show. Watch it.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, Shinji.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
All
for
right.
this. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Okay.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
having me.
Sure.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Hello. Thank you for watching my video. Please hit like and subscribe and keep watching. Thank you very much.